very good evening and welcome to Prime Time News on TV1 for the Newsfirst team. I'm Bulletin De Silva. Let's start off with a look at the headlines.
President orders investigation into notice issued to Russian and Ukrainian tourists to leave in 14 days. 4 flights delayed. Sri Lankan Airlines apologizes.
One person walk here. You look. What time is it?
National Election Commission to raise awareness regarding the regulation of Election Expenditure Act. Presidential election or general election? Who are the candidates?
මේ මැතිවරණේ එලියෙන් පේන ඔබට ඉබ්බයි හාවයි දුවන තරංගයක් වගේ පෙනෙයි.
මේ කොළු ගැටව ගැන මට අනේ පව් කියලා හිතෙනවා. මොකද හේතුව අපි රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයා ආශ්‍රය කරේ ඔయిత දශක දෙකමාරකට කලින් ඉන්නේ.
President's full support for Operation Yuka. Subject Minister says the operation will continue.
අපි එක පොරොන්දුවක් දෙනවා අපි කවදාවත් මේක නවත්තන්නේ නැහැ. කවුරු කිව්වත් නවත්තන්නේ නැහැ.
Taking a look at the top story, one person was injured in a shooting that took place in Chanp Street, Colombo.
Crime Watch.
CCTV footage showed 2 unidentified men who arrived in a motorcycle, fleeing the scene after opening fire at the victim. The 52-year-old victim was the owner of a meat shop at Chanp Street. The gunman had shot him while he was inside his shop.
Crime Watch.
Minister of Public Security Tiran Alas said Operation Yuka has received the complete support of President Ranil Wickremesinghe. He reiterated that the operation will continue despite international pressure.
Minister of Public Security Tiran Alas expressed these views during an awareness program for the Bandarawala community police units.
It has been around 2.5 months since we commenced the operation, and we will continue this operation. We faced various challenges. The international community issued notices. As long as I hold this ministerial portfolio, I will fulfill the duties for the people of Sri Lanka and not to please the international community. Despite pressure from the international community, I will not allow this operation to be halted as long as I remain in this post. It also faced challenges from within the country. There is a handful of attorneys in Colombo that get money from drug traffickers. The drug traffickers are trying to leverage it to stop this program. I believe there are 7 cases filed against the IGP on Tuesday, calling for the IGP's post not to be made permanent. All 7 cases were filed by the same group. We will never stop this, regardless of anyone's influence. The President has extended his complete support for me to carry out this program as I see fit, and said he doesn't even want to know about it. I promise to eradicate drugs and the underworld. Within 1.5 months, heroin, ice and other dangerous drugs will be eradicated from these areas. The police force will be able to eradicate drugs from the country in the same way the 30-year conflict was brought to an end. Over the next few months, the people of this country will be able to witness how we will seize millions of worth property from so-called large-scale drug racketeers.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe highlighted his plans for Hambantota, envisioning it as a pivotal hub for infrastructure development and connectivity. This was during a recent discussion on the plans for strategic tourism zones in the eastern province, the Colombo city and the western region and Greater Hambantota.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe stressed the importance of leveraging the extensive investments already made in infrastructure in Hambantota despite previous challenges. According to the President's media division, the President emphasized the economic potential of Hambantota, envisioning it as a pivotal hub for infrastructure development and connectivity. He highlighted plans to link Hambantota to the Myanmar port, with further extensions anticipated up to Chongqing in eastern China and down to Africa. President Wickremesinghe's remarks underscored a strategic shift towards targeted infrastructure development, emphasizing the pivotal roles of Hambantota and the Eastern Province in economic growth and positioning it as a key player alongside Colombo in Sri Lanka's development trajectory. He also disclosed plans for allocating thousands of acres of land for investment zones, with additional acquisitions sought in Munaragala. The discussion also focused on the development of Trincomalee as a major investment zone in collaboration with India. President Wickremesinghe announced plans for a joint working group to implement development initiatives in Trincomalee, emphasizing the importance of bilateral cooperation in driving economic growth and regional stability.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe has ordered an investigation into the notification issued to Russian and Ukrainian tourists without prior cabinet approval, requiring them to leave the country within 14 days. According to the President's media division, the Sri Lankan government has not officially decided to revoke the visa extensions previously granted to these tourists. Meanwhile, the Minister of Public Security clarified that the government has not yet issued any directive requiring Russian and Ukrainian tourists to leave the country within 14 days. The ministry issued a statement confirming that a comprehensive investigation will be launched into the issue. On the 22nd of February, the Controller General of Immigration and Immigration had sent a letter to the Secretary of the Ministry of Tourism requesting that they inform tourists that the department had provided 14 days for long-staying Russian and Ukrainian tourists to leave the country. The National Security Council Senior Director for South Asia, Rear Admiral Lane Laubaka, met with the Sri Lankan President's Senior Advisor on National Security and Chief of Staff, Sagala Ratnayaka, on the 23rd of February at the President's office.
Rear Admiral Lane Laubaka met with President Wickremesinghe's Chief of Staff, Sagala Ratnayaka, on the 23rd of February at the President's office. While focusing on strengthening the bilateral relations between the two countries, discussions were held about the ship to be provided by the United States Navy for Sri Lanka's naval operations and about the future activities between Sri Lanka and the United States of America. Judy Chung, the United States Ambassador to Sri Lanka, was also present on this occasion.
One of the two naval exercises in close proximity to the Sea of Sri Lanka concluded today. This was the trilateral joint exercise Ex-Dosti 16. The exercise coincided with heightened regional tensions and the presence of a Chinese ship anchored in the port of Mali, Maldives. The trilateral joint exercise Ex-Dosti 16, held from February 22nd to 25th, witnessed the participation of Coast Guard vessels from India, Navy vessel from Sri Lanka and the Maldives, along with observers from Bangladesh. The sea exercise under Dosti 16 featured 5 Coast Guard ships from India, Maldives and Sri Lanka. The exercise focused on regional cooperation in areas such as search as well as humanitarian assistance and disaster relief efforts. Meanwhile, the 12th edition of the multilateral naval exercise Milan 2024 will continue until the 27th of February in India. The Pentagon said US and UK fighter planes have carried out strikes on 18 Houthi sites in Yemen, the 4th such joint operation by the Allies.
The US said yesterday strikes were directed against storage facilities, drones, air defense systems, radars and a helicopter of the militant movement. The UK said the allies acted to further degrade Houthi capabilities. In a joint statement, the Pentagon said that necessary and proportionate strikes specifically targeted 18 Houthi targets across 8 locations in Yemen, associated with Houthi underground weapon storage facilities, missile storage facilities, one-way attack unmanned aerial systems, air defense systems, radars and a helicopter. The statement said the Houthis, now more than 45 attacks on commercial and naval vessels since mid-November, constitute a threat to the global economy as well as regional security and stability and demand an international response. There have been sustained attacks by the Iran-backed Houthis on shipping in the important Red Sea trade route. The Houthis, who control large swathes of Yemen including the capital Sana'a, have been targeting vessels they say are linked to Israel and the West in response to the continuing Israel-Gaza war. Global supply chains are now facing severe disruption and rising costs as a result of some of the biggest shipping companies diverting journeys away from the Red Sea, one of the world's busiest shipping lanes.
Taking Taking a look at more local news, many passengers were affected after several flights operated by Sri Lankan Airlines were delayed. Sri Lankan Airlines issued an apology for the delays. A tense situation was reported from the Bandaranaike International Airport today after passengers who were severely affected by the delays in the flights had voiced their opposition to the staff.
One person walk here. You look. What time is it? Look me. Where is the hotel? You want I call for you? Call a best hotel. No.
What really happened here? Operations at the Bandaranaike International Airport in Gataka are carried out by several institutions. The airport operations are run by Sri Lankan Airlines. The Nidahas Sevaka Sangamaya of Sri Lankan Airlines said that 3 Sri Lankan Airlines aircraft are short-staffed and, with experienced employees leaving the country, it has become difficult to continue operations with a limited number of employees available. They also point out that the staff at Sri Lankan Airlines is coming under a lot of pressure from passengers due to the shortage of aircraft and the subsequent delays due to technical failures in the aircraft. Passengers expressed their discontent after flights scheduled to Chennai and Hyderabad in India, Dhaka in Bangladesh and Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia were delayed. What happened after?
මේ අද පාන්දර ගුවන්තොටුපොළේ ඇතුළු තත්ත්වය මේ ප්‍රකාශ කරපු වෘත්තීය සමිති ක්‍රියාමාර්ගයක් නෙවෙයි.
This was not a trade union action that was announced. The staff couldn't bear the pressure from the passengers after the flights were cancelled today, and they suddenly decided as a group to move out as they could not continue to provide their services. In short, this is like a bull sitting on the ground in the middle of the road, as the weight that he has been saddled with is too much.
ඒ දරාගන්න බැරුව ෂණිකව ඒ සේවකයෝ විසින් ගත ක්‍රියාමාර්ගයක්.
Sri Lankan Airlines staff returned to the counters at about 6:30 this morning. This was the situation at the departure terminal of the BIA this morning. Trade unions said the management of Sri Lankan Airlines had granted them a meeting on Monday to discuss these matters. What is a solution to these issues? These are the views expressed by the trade unions.
අපි පොදුවේ ගන්න ඕන තීන්දුව තමයි අපිට දැනට තියෙන ගුවන් යාන ප්‍රමාණය.
We need to take a decision to formulate a timetable that we can stick to based on the aircraft that we currently have. By issuing tickets and then later delaying the flights, we are not only ruining the reputation that we have among the passengers, we are also inconveniencing the passengers.
ගුවන් මගින් අපහසුතාවට පත් කිරීම තමයි එකෙන් වෙන්නේ.
What is Sri Lankan Airlines saying about this situation? Sri Lankan Airlines issued an apology to the passengers. Sri Lankan Airlines said that there was a tense situation among passengers after several flights were delayed and the check-in counters at the airport were not functioning. They highlighted that steps are being taken to prevent such situations from repeating in the future. Newsfirst contacted the Minister of Ports, Shipping and Aviation, Nimal Siripala de Silva, and inquired about the situation. He said that a press conference will be held tomorrow to inform the media regarding the steps that will be taken to prevent the over-hour delay in several flights belonging to Sri Lankan Airlines.
When's the election?
The National Election Commission has reached a decision to raise awareness among political parties regarding the regulation of Election Expenditure Act. Chairman of the Commission, RML Ratnayaka, said that the programs to raise awareness will be held on the 27th of February and the 6th of March. Funds that candidates spend for the election has been limited under the regulation of Election Expenditure Act. The chairman of the National Election Commission said these meetings will be convened to give politicians a proper understanding regarding provisions of this act. What will happen to the presidential election that must be held this year? Who are the candidates for this election? Political meetings, discussions and conferences were held across the country today as well.
When's the election?
The United National Party Mathaledi District Conference held today focused on preparations for the upcoming presidential election.
Around
60% of votes in the country are floating votes. All parties only have around 40% of the votes. It won't take long to change this. We still did not start our campaign. 2 parties are running ahead. Let them. We will form alliances in future, and the big players of those parties will also join us. Those who are with us will also join us. When the alliance is formed, the people will understand our strength. It is not just the UNP. We will unite with other political parties and leaders to form a broad alliance led by Ranil Wickremesinghe to set the country and its people on a winning path. Be a part of this program.
When's the election?
The Gampaha District Women's Conference of the Gataka Janabalawegaya was held this evening, and it was chaired by Anura Kumara Disanayaka. This is a historic moment. Do you know of any other places or countries where women can unite for a political cause? We must look into it, but I am not aware of a place where women unite in such a large scale. This is a force that will change an era. Be proud of it. This is a feeling. There is love and unity here, and that is our strength. This is how our country will change.
All groups that can unite in Sri Lanka will get on one stage in the future. Chandrika, who was elected president in 1994, Mahinda, who was elected president in 2005, Maithripala, who was elected in 2015, Gotabaya, who was elected in 2019, and Ranil Wickremesinghe, who became president in 2022. They will all get on one stage. Although they are not on the same stage now, they are still working together against us. The upcoming election will be the most colourful election stage in Sri Lanka, not for the right reasons. Chandrika will be on the stage. Mahinda will be there wearing a shawl. Maithripala Sirasena will be clad in Modi's attire. Ranil Wickremesinghe clad in a European outfit. Gotabaya will be there with the stars on his shirt. They will all be there. What sort of image comes to your mind? It'll be like a fancy dress parade at a New Year celebration. What are they trying to do? They are trying to defeat the people's force that is gaining momentum. Everyone representing these friendly forces will unite on one stage. Politics in the future will be decisive.
When's the election?
The Mahabima Janata Party held the party's Polonnaruwa district meeting today at the Pulathasi Buddhi Mandapaya.
This promise that is being promoted on political platforms that they will nab thieves is a complete falsity. I ask those who promote this to stop pushing this false political narrative immediately. It is a lie. It is very important to end corruption in the country. However, we cannot allow them to steal the votes of these innocent people by spreading falsities. These groups of thieves who are promoting this falsity of nabbing thieves, they are among the biggest political establishments that are engaged in corruption, and they need to step out of it. All of these political parties are in the same camp. We need to come together and present an alternative path to this.
When's
the election?
MP Namal Rajapaksa said the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna holds the key to rebuilding the country.
As a strong political party with a comprehensive program, we urge you to join us. There is no reason to fear. Running a marathon is very different to running 100 meters. As the saying goes, the tortoise beat the hare because the hare stopped after running fast initially. However, the truth that is not mentioned in the story is that the tortoise did not merely win because the hare fell asleep, but the tortoise had a vision to win and the commitment and necessary tactic to win. To an outsider, this election may seem like the race between the hare and tortoise, but like the tortoise, the SLPP will win the next presidential election in the end.
When's the election?
Samagi Janabalawegaya media spokesperson S.M. Marikar reiterated his view that the current president will not contest the upcoming presidential election.
Some
young members of the United National Party say that Ranil Wickremesinghe is getting ready to contest for the next presidential election. I feel sorry for them because the Ranil Wickremesinghe we know will never contest for elections to lose. Therefore, all of you will be able to see the results when the election draws near.
When's the election?
Meanwhile, opposition leader Sajith Premadasa visited the Malwatu Mahaviharaya today. The opposition leader called on the chief incumbent of the Malwatu chapter of Siam sect, Venerable Tibbatuave Sri Siddhartha Sumangala Thero, and the Anunayaka of the Malwatu chapter, Venerable Dimbul Kumbure Sri Vimaladhamma Thero, and obtained blessings from them.
We signed a social contract and a women's charter in 2019. That is a social contract made with women. We are preparing a huge charter to protect the economic, social livelihood and the political rights of women living in villages.
Thereafter, the opposition leader expressed these views to the media.
We are implementing a responsible and a people-centric government that is responsible and accountable to the 22 million people of the country and is transparent. We will not protect thieves even if they promise that they will not offer us the US presidency or even the helm in heaven. The thieves who robbed the country will be brought before the law, and all the resources, property and money lost to the country will be returned back to the country, and it will be used for the development of the country.
When's
the election?
If anyone forms an alliance with Ranil Wickremesinghe or the Rajapaksas, it should be for selfish reasons and for the sake of retaining power and ministerial posts, and not for the sake of this country and its people. If they think of the country's economy, politics, people's rights, will anyone form an alliance with them? An alliance should be formed to chase them away. However, these alliances are being formed to retain power. We believe the people need to form an alliance against this.
In other local news, the people held demonstrations in Thimbirigasyaya today, demanding solutions to Sri Lanka's pressing issues.
This is the 258th day of the Thimbirigasyaya protest, where the people of Thimbirigasyaya have engaged in their silent waving of placards and asking for a system change, asking for a government free of corruption and a system change with elections coming soon.
It was quite sickening to hear the spokesperson from the CEB say that children whose families can't afford to pay their electricity bills because they have been disconnected due to non-payment, and I believe there's close to 1 million households who have lost their electricity in 2023. He had the audacity to say, so what's the problem? They can study under lamplight. Yes. I'm sorry, sir, but we are in the 2024 now. We're not in the 1800s.
We saw the Minister of Public Security Tiranalas saying that with the President's blessings, they're going to continue with Yuka operation. Eradicating drug menace is good, but don't forget, why we say that this is a farce is because the main people, why are the police not going behind them? What about Yuka for the bond scam? What about Yuka for the sugar scam? What about Yuka for the VAT scam?
If you cannot run the country, we have the chance for an election. Election will come, people will vote, capable people will come, and the country will prosper. We are looking forward to that day. Whoever can't run this country, please go home.
To produce 1 kilogram of rice in Sri Lankan context, the farmer used 500 liters of water. 1,500 liters of water in Sri Lankan farm on average used to cultivate 1 kilogram of rice.
Bargaining position is not that great. We have to be competitive and we have to have a good basket of goods. That's one of my main problems, how much these trade agreements will benefit Sri Lanka. I think macroeconomic stability is important. Focusing only on that may not be sufficient. But even a 3% growth is not going to be sufficient to take the economy to where we want it to be.
Rather than a problem or an issue that needs solving. And that's why it's important to hear stories from people who have been impacted. This is something that may be overlooked.
Presidential election has to be held because unlike local government election and some other elections that was postponed, presidential election is very clearly stated in the constitution with the dates.
It is the future, it is the present, the composition of the present and the way how we are building up for it to get into the future.
Nothing to declare in terms of the constitution. We have to have the presidential election this year. In their propagandas, the first priority they have been given to abolish the executive because there was a public demand.
Because these government policies, I think, are not going to solve our problem. And also, the political henchmen are still running these agencies.
On the areas where we can thrive through collaboration rather than competing with India.
Streaming live on Newsfirst, YouTube and Facebook channels.
Now, the United Centenary Front launched a program offering investments to struggling small and medium-sized businesses.
The United Centenary Front gathered 100 representatives from all 25 districts in Colombo today for a meeting with local and foreign investors. Following discussions, 40 businesses secured the necessary investments to continue their operations.
Despite
the economic hardship small and medium businesses are facing in the past 6 months, we have launched a program that trains entrepreneurs, provides them with investments and offers other support. Our core principle is empowering the right individuals with the necessary tools. Regardless of your political affiliation, if you are an honest and talented entrepreneur, we are here to support you. We won't exploit you or offer temporary solutions. Our goal is to empower you to achieve sustainable success and build a strong reputation.
Sri Lanka could receive a $500 million lifeline from the Asian Development Bank on one key factor: sustained policy reforms. Country Director of the Manila-based Asian Development Bank, Takafumi Kadono, said Sri Lanka could receive $500 million in support from the Asian Development Bank in 2024 based on the progress of policy reforms. Meanwhile, Takafumi Kadono said the Asian Development Bank expects Sri Lanka not to reverse its International Monetary Fund-led policy reforms despite elections soon. He told Economy Next, quote, "If that kind of reversal happens, we also cannot justify our support," unquote. He said, quote, "We do expect these policy reforms to be sustained, so that is our expectation, that is the premise which we are providing our budget support. If they reverse, the whole premise will be collapsed. That kind of policy reversal cannot happen," unquote. The 56th edition of Gamata Krida, a program organized by Sports First in the hope of providing a platform for talented sportsmen and women in rural Sri Lanka to shine bright both at the national and international level. This program was conducted at the Bellana Mahavidyalaya in Matugama.
The 56th edition of the Gamata Krida program is powered by SLT Mobitel and Fonterra. The training camp today began following a ceremony organized by the students of the Bellana Mahavidyalaya in Matugama. Western Province Education Secretary Sirisoma Lokuvithana, Principal of the Matugama Bellana Mahavidyalaya MD Viduru Sujivaka, Newsfirst Channel Head Suranga Senanaika, Newsfirst News Director Rinaz Mohammed, Newsfirst Manager Chaturi Pereira, Newsfirst Assistant Manager Vindana Prasad Karnaratna, Deputy General Manager of Sales at SLT Mobitel Ruan Silva, SLT Mobitel Sales Manager for Kalutara District Tennyson Gunavardhana, Zonal Education Director Fagalawatha Tushani Vithanarachi, Veteran Cricketer Chamara Silva and Charit Buddhika were among those who were present at the event.
Sirasa
We consider it an honor that the Gamata Krida program organized by the Sirasa Media Network is being held at the Bellana Mahavidyalaya grounds. This Gamata Krida program gives a lot of support to talented sportsmen and women in rural areas in Sri Lanka to showcase their talents at the national level. In other countries they have systems. Children in Sri Lanka have courage, but we have no systems. We have been forced to move forward with only our courage in a country that has no systems. Therefore, you must become good leaders. There are two groups of leaders. One group of leaders says come and go. Those leaders are at the back. The other group leaders say come, let's go. Those leaders are the ones who go in front. Therefore, I invite these talented children to become leaders who lead from the front. Let's get that leadership training from here as well.
අනුන් සමග එකට වැඩ කිරීම, කණ්ඩායම් හැඟීමෙන් වැඩ කිරීම, කණ්ඩායමක් ලෙස ජය ගැනීම කියන මේ එකී නොකී මෙකී
As SLT Mobitel, we will without any reservation join hands with these programs that nurture the qualities of teamwork and create good leaders. Take part in today's training camp and one day you win in your life. That will be the best thing that we can impart on you.
අනිකුත් සියලුම සම්පත්ධාරීන් ඔබට ලබා දෙන එකම දායාදය. අපි තාත්
We are extremely happy for the support that is being given to us to develop the talents of these students here who do not have proper facilities. These efforts are praiseworthy.
5 sports are included in this year's edition of Gamata Krida. Training camps will be conducted for the sports of cricket, karate, volleyball, ball badminton and netball. About 400 students from 20 schools in the area, including the Mathugama Bellana Mahavidyalaya, were given the opportunity to train under veterans. The cricket training camp was conducted under the guidance of veteran cricketers Chamara Silva and Charita Buddhika. Sri Lanka ball badminton head coach Asiri Udayakumara led the ball badminton training camp. The head coach of the Sri Lankan national volleyball team, Channa Jayasekara, and assistant coach Susiri Mangala Kumara conducted the volleyball training camp. The netball training camp was guided by the former coach of the under-19 national netball team, Yasanthi Tusharika. National level karate judge Charitamra Sekara and national karate competitor Janit Sanjeeva guided the students who took part in the karate training camp.
Day 2 of Architect 2024. The Architects' Work, Lifestyle and Trade exhibition organised by the Sri Lanka Institute of Architects was held in Colombo yesterday.
Architect 2024, the leading event for the construction and architecture industry in Sri Lanka, brings together many local and international architects, designers and entrepreneurs from all sectors of the industry to showcase a wide range of architectural works. Highlights of the exhibition featured residential and commercial projects, urban designs and many more sustainable solutions. The MTV MBC network is the official media partner of the event.
Indo-Lanka fishing controversy.
The fast launched by fishermen in Rameshwaram demanding for the release of the Tamil Nadu fishermen who were arrested by Sri Lankan authorities continued for a second day today.
The Magistrate of Kites passed judgment and imposed sentences on 2 occasions this month after the Sri Lanka Navy had arrested and produced before him a group who had entered into the Sea of Sri Lanka. 3 of them were sentenced to 6 months each for entering the Sea of Sri Lanka, while being well aware of that fact and also using a GPS tracking system. Further, the Kites Magistrates Court sentenced another group to 1 year in prison. Fisherfolk in Rameshwaram have been protesting against the imprisonment of the Tamil Nadu fisherfolk since yesterday. This group also refrained from attending the annual feast of the St. Anthony's Church in Kachatheev. The fast launched by fisherfolk in Tamil Nadu at 10 a.m. yesterday continued through the night. Over 300 protesters staging the fast are carrying slogans against the central and regional governments of India and also against the government of Sri Lanka. Against such a backdrop, the protesting fisherfolk requested for an opportunity to meet with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who visited Thoothukudi.
The central government should hear us out. Prime Minister Modi will be visiting Thoothukudi on the 27th. We request him to come meet us and listen to our problems. We request permission to meet the Chief Minister and to listen to our problems.
Indian police have also tightened security in Thangachimadam due to the ongoing protests by fisherfolk. DMK member of the Tamil Nadu Assembly, Kadar Badsha Muthuramalingam, met with the protesting fishermen and promised to address their demands. Following the meeting, the fishermen ended their fast.
As soon as I told the Chief Minister about this issue as a member of the Assembly, he called me and consoled me. He then promised that the Tamil Nadu government would take legal procedures on behalf of the fishermen. In return, I met the fishermen and consoled them back. We have made arrangements for the Chief Minister to meet the fishermen in 2 days. The Tamil Nadu government should accept to pay the expenses incurred while rescuing the fishermen who are arrested in Sri Lanka. Government has said that they will rescue the fishermen as soon as possible. Therefore, as per their request, we will give up on our fast and go back to the sea to carry on our business.
Illegal encroachments by Indian fisherfolk into the Sea of Sri Lanka, that is 8 times the size of the island, has been increasing in recent times. 88 Indian fishermen have been arrested for entering the Sea of Sri Lanka so far this year. Although fisherfolk in Tamil Nadu say that they will continue to stage the protest, reports came in that nets of Sri Lankan fisherfolk in the north had been damaged by trawlers used by fisherfolk in Tamil Nadu.
That's a wrap of Prime Time News on TV1. Thank you for watching and good night.